Waffle House is an American institution. Known for its affordable meals and 24/7 service, it's a beloved diner chain. Recently, however, Waffle House made headlines for a different reason: a 50-cent surcharge on eggs. This seemingly small change reflects a much larger issue: the soaring cost of food impacting businesses and consumers alike. The egg surcharge is a potent symbol of the challenges facing the food industry. Rising costs of production, transportation, and labor are squeezing profit margins. Restaurants like Waffle House are forced to make tough choices to stay afloat. These price hikes are not limited to eggs or even breakfast staples. From produce to meat, the entire food supply chain is grappling with inflationary pressures, leaving consumers with sticker shock at the grocery store and fewer affordable dining options. The 50-cent egg is a wake-up call, signaling a need to understand the complex factors driving up food prices. One of the primary culprits behind the rising cost of eggs is the outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza, commonly known as bird flu. This virus has been wreaking havoc on poultry farms, causing widespread panic and concern among farmers and consumers alike. This devastating disease has ripped through poultry farms across the United States, leading to the culling of millions of chickens. The culling process, though necessary to prevent further spread, has left many farms empty and struggling to recover. The loss of so many egg-laying hens has created a significant supply shortage. Empty egg cartons on store shelves have become a common sight, and the few remaining chickens are not enough to meet the demand. Basic economics dictates that when supply decreases and demand remains high, prices rise. This principle is clearly visible in the current egg market, where the shortage has led to a sharp increase in prices. Consequently, the wholesale price of eggs has skyrocketed, impacting restaurants, bakeries, and consumers who rely on this dietary staple. Many businesses are now facing higher costs, which they may pass on to customers, further exacerbating the issue. The current bird flu outbreak is the deadliest in U.S. history, surpassing the previous record set in 2015. The scale and severity of this outbreak have taken many by surprise, highlighting the need for better preparedness and response strategies. The virus is highly contagious and often fatal to birds. Veterinarians and farm workers are working tirelessly to implement biosecurity measures, but the rapid spread of the virus makes containment a daunting task. While there is no evidence that the current strain poses a significant risk to human health, its impact on the poultry industry is undeniable. The livelihoods of countless farmers are at stake, and the ripple effects are being felt throughout the food supply chain. The scale of the outbreak has overwhelmed efforts to contain it, raising concerns about the long-term stability of egg prices and highlighting the vulnerability of our food supply chains to disease outbreaks. As we move forward, it is crucial to invest in research and development to find more effective ways to combat such diseases and protect our food sources. Scientists are working around the clock to develop vaccines and treatments for avian flu, while government officials are discussing policies to support affected farmers and stabilize the market. The collaboration between different sectors is essential to overcoming this crisis. Community support for farmers has also been heartening, with many people choosing to buy locally produced eggs and other poultry products. This not only helps the farmers but also strengthens local economies. Despite the challenges, there is hope for the future. With continued efforts and support, the poultry industry can recover and thrive once again, ensuring a stable supply of eggs and other poultry products for everyone. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of global supply chains. What was once a seamless flow of goods across borders suddenly became a tangled web of delays and shortages. The food industry, heavily reliant on the efficient movement of goods, was particularly affected. Factories struggled to maintain production levels, and distribution networks faced unprecedented challenges. Lockdowns, labor shortages, and transportation bottlenecks created a domino effect, disrupting the flow of ingredients, packaging materials, and finished products. The impact was felt from the farm to the table, with every link in the chain experiencing strain. These disruptions have contributed significantly to food price inflation. Consumers found themselves paying more for everyday essentials, as the cost of getting food from the farm to the fork soared. When it costs more to produce, process, and transport food, those increased costs are passed down the chain, ultimately impacting the price consumers pay. Farmers faced higher costs for seeds and fertilizers, factories dealt with increased expenses for labor and materials, and transportation costs surged, due to fuel price hikes. While some of the initial pandemic-related disruptions have eased, the system remains vulnerable. The interconnected nature of global supply chains means that any disruption, no matter how small, can have far-reaching consequences. The war in Ukraine, a major exporter of wheat and sunflower oil, has further strained global food supplies, adding to the upward pressure on prices. The conflict has disrupted planting and harvesting seasons, leading to shortages that ripple through the global market. The interconnected nature of the global food system means that events in one part of the world can have ripple effects elsewhere. A drought in one region, a conflict in another, or a pandemic can all disrupt the delicate balance of supply and demand. Building more resilient and localized food systems is crucial to mitigating future disruptions. By supporting local farmers and investing in regional food infrastructure, communities can reduce their dependence on global supply chains and enhance food security. Section 4. Feeding the crisis, soaring costs of feed and raw materials. The rising cost of feed is another major factor driving up food prices. Farmers are finding it increasingly difficult to afford the feed necessary to sustain their livestock, which in turn affects the entire food supply chain. Corn and soybeans, key ingredients in animal feed, have seen significant price increases due to a combination of factors. Increased demand from China has put pressure on global supplies, while adverse weather conditions in key growing regions have reduced yields. Additionally, the diversion of corn for ethanol production has further strained the availability of this crucial crop for feed. These price hikes directly impact the cost of raising livestock and poultry, making meat, dairy, and eggs more expensive to produce. Farmers are forced to pass these increased costs on to consumers, leading to higher prices at the grocery store. The increased cost of feed is felt throughout the food chain, from small-scale farmers to large agricultural conglomerates, and ultimately trickles down to consumers. Small-scale farmers in particular are struggling to stay afloat as they face higher costs without the same economies of scale as larger operations. In addition to feed, the cost of other essential agricultural inputs such as fertilizer, pesticides, and packaging materials has also risen sharply. These inputs are critical for maintaining crop yields and ensuring that food products are safe and marketable. This perfect storm of rising input costs is squeezing profit margins for farmers and ranchers, forcing them to raise prices or reduce production. As a result, consumers are seeing higher prices and fewer choices at the grocery store, while farmers and ranchers are facing difficult decisions about their livelihoods. The entire agricultural sector is under immense pressure, and the ripple effects are being felt far and wide. Section 5. The inflationary spiral, a recipe for rising prices. The food industry is not immune to the broader inflationary pressures impacting the global economy. Rising energy costs, driven by factors such as geopolitical instability and increased demand, have a cascading effect on food prices. Transportation, processing, and storage all become more expensive when fuel prices surge. Labor shortages and wage increases, while positive for workers, also contribute to higher food costs. Restaurants, food manufacturers, and other businesses in the food sector must adjust to these increased labor costs, which are often passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. Government policies such as trade tariffs and subsidies can also impact food prices. While these policies can be implemented with the aim of protecting domestic industries or influencing consumer behavior, they can also have unintended consequences, including price distortions and market inefficiencies. Section 6. Navigating the squeeze. How restaurants are adapting. Restaurants caught between rising costs and price-sensitive consumers are facing difficult decisions. Some, like Waffle House, are implementing surcharges on specific ingredients to offset increased costs. Others are reducing portion sizes, raising menu prices, or streamlining their offerings to focus on dishes with lower food costs. Many restaurants are also exploring ways to improve efficiency and reduce waste. This includes everything from optimizing inventory management to implementing energy-saving measures. Some are even experimenting with new technologies, such as automated food preparation systems, to reduce their reliance on labor. The restaurant industry is known for its adaptability and resilience. However, the current inflationary environment is testing even the most seasoned restaurateurs. Success in this challenging climate requires a combination of creativity, cost consciousness, and a willingness to adapt to changing consumer preferences.